Hey, folks. Welcome to the Basement Show podcast short mini-sode. Yes. All right.
It's a little bit of a thing.
Yeah, a little thing. It's a tiny thing. Okay, so today we have Hanna Cranna.
Oh, boy.
Hanna Cranna, baby. Ooh. Everyone is familiar with the infamous Salem witch trials of 1692, but accusations of people having pacts with the devil did not stop after the Salem hysteria had died down. Formal prosecutions were not as common in the years after, but rumors and whispers still made their way through New England towns and villages. Yeah. Keep it down now.
Peas and carrots.
Yes. Hannah Hovey, born almost a century later, would become a legend still spoken about to this day because of the allegations of witchcraft made against her and the abnormal way she dealt with them. Hannah married Captain John Joseph Hovey, and together they lived on Cragley Hill in Monroe Village, Connecticut, also known as Connecticut. The legend of Monroe's witch would be born shortly after Hannah's husband died unexpectedly. The story goes that during his nightly walk, Captain Hovey lost his footing near a cliff and ultimately fell to his death.
Aww.
The villagers of Monroe did not believe that he could have died under such odd circumstances, and rumors were whispered amongst them that he had been hexed by his wife. Hannah picked up the name Hanna Cranna soon after, Cranna being Scottish for a rocky place. Cranna! Hannah, now widowed, resided in the forest alone and never remarried. She began dressing in all black clothing with long flowing skirts that grazed the ground and swayed in the wind.
Aww.
Her home was said to be guarded by numerous snakes and her familiar, a rooster named Old Boreas, would only crow at 3 a.m. The witching hour! Pause. The change in her appearance, isolated home, and hateful attitude.
You know what? I don't like your hateful attitude.
Yeah. It didn't help the allegations that had already been made against her. But oddly enough, she used the fact that she was feared by others to her advantage. She often insisted that her neighbors give her free food and firewood, and if they didn't immediately comply, she relied on her witchy reputation to threaten them. When one local farmer's wife allegedly tried to deny her a fresh-baked pie, Hannah cursed her, so the story goes, and the poor woman was never able to bake again.
You shall never bake again.
That's right. Pie probably sucked. Anywho, another story tells of how after catching a man fishing for trout in a brook on her property without her permission, Hannah laid a curse on him and he never caught another fish. Over the years, other such incidents demonstrating her otherworldly prowess supposedly occurred, solidifying her infamy with and power over the locals. From her house on Craig Hill, allegedly guarded by snakes, she helped those who venerated her and poured down misery on those who crossed her. Sounds like someone I know. Old Boreas, her familiar, died in 1859, and Hannah believed she wouldn't live too much long after, and she didn't. After a heavy snow that winter, a local had found her in weak condition, and she muttered, and I quote, "I am not well. I have a wish to make that must be carried out following my death. I am not to be buried until after sundown, and there must be ample bearers to carry my coffin from the house to the grave. Obey my wishes if you wish to avoid trouble and vexation."
Vexation.
That's right.
I like that word.
Vex that A-Z-Z. Hannah passed of natural causes the following day, but something strange was said to have happened in the night of her burial. With deep snow and slick ice covering the ground, it made it difficult for the bearers of her coffin to carry it from her home to the gravesite. Going against her wishes, the coffin was loaded onto a sled, and while en route, the coffin began to shake and came loose. This happened twice, so the coffin bearers decided to try their damnedest to carry her to her final resting place. After they buried her, they traveled back towards her home to discover the cottage completely engulfed in flames. Obviously, that only served to burn Hanna Cranna, the Wicked Witch of Monroe, into their minds forever. Like with any good legend, there are stories that still revolve around her today. The most popular of which is that from time to time, the specter of a mysterious woman will suddenly appear in the middle of Spring Hill Road, causing the unfortunate driver to swerve, lose control of their car, and eventually their life, as they crash into the gravestone of Hanna Cranna. Of course, Hannah's gravestone is up on the hill overlooking the road and would require a spectacular aerial crash that would put Evel Knievel to shame. But why let that get in the way of a good urban legend? So, put a hex on that like button, subscribe and share, and leave some pie for Hannah. We'll be back next week with a full episode. That's right. Do not vex or hex.
Avoid vexation.
That's right. Bye, Hanna Cranna.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Yes. Yes.